Knightly Musers, followers of the pod, faithful few and hopeful many, this is Anchor by Spotify. If you haven't heard about it, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's the very platform that allows me to give you what I give you on the Nightly. So let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And it gives you the ability to distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so much more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally FREE free. So here's where you come in. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That is ANCHOR.fm to get started. Thank you very much. Peace. Welcome to the Knightly Muse podcast. This is your host, Tinayeshe, and I have a very tired and special guest. Yo, this is one of my very best friends, top tier. I don't rank, I can't say who my best friend is because it's kind of fluid and I don't want to make anybody mad, but the top tier, it's a fluid list, and Teve is definitely in there. He's my co-host on Life InBetween. Shout out, we just finished season 1. He just got back from Zimbabwe. Tinayeshe Munda, my guy, straight back from the motherland to give you some heat and support the pod. What's up, dude?
I am struggling. So, I wish you guys could see this on video.
Dude is asleep right now.
I'm so tired.
Yo, so we're going to keep this one short. Luckily, my personal pod is a little shorter than our normal pod that we do together. Also, shout out Low Fly. He is the vibes. He is the music. He is the musical genius behind the theme music. And yeah, exciting stuff. I played at a wedding this weekend, and to just give the quick recap, I gave you the before, day of, and now the after.
Was there a romantic instance at the wedding?
Shut up. No, I'm still single.
Boo.
But, yo, I bodied it, bro. I was nervous, and there was something pretty amazing about being as nervous and, like, excited as I was to be there and to, like, also perform and do what I was capable of doing. And so we were in our bag, and now Noah and Emily are officially Noah and Emily Satterfield. So shout out to the newlyweds.
Right on.
Right on, bruv. And back to your scheduled programming. Teve, tell the people about yourself. Honestly, you don't need to do that. The people that listen to this probably listen to Life InBetween too. But, dude, you are, I mean, yeah, dude, like you're that guy and you're about to move. You got a new job, and honestly, the questions that I have for you are just kind of that, like, how are you processing moving to a new city?
I'm really excited. It's not the city I expected it to be honest.
It was supposed to be the dang QC, but you know, God had other plans, and that's okay. I have to submit to the Almighty.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy because I've been looking at this company for a couple of years now. I won't disclose what company it is. But just having an opportunity to work at a really awesome company is something I'm very excited about. And knowing that my dreams and plans I have to move up and to the space I want to work in the future, this is going to be a good stepping stone for me. And just being a part of a company that has a good, strong foundation and culture is really exciting for me. And also getting to move, because I've been in the same city for a very long time.
Long time. He's been trying to get out for years.
Yeah. And I wanted to move to Charlotte. That was like my number one option, to move to Charlotte. But
not heard about it at all.
It didn't happen, but I never thought I was going to move to the city that I'm moving to. But I'm really excited about it. I know some people there. So in terms of like finding friends, I don't think that'll be too much of an issue, but it's really exciting to really like spread your wings out and move out by yourself, you know?
Yeah, man. So in Life InBetween, I know this because we literally just talked about it, but legacy is something that is important to you. It's something that's important to me. I had an episode where I was talking about, Uncle Paul.
Of course I do.
He, so in children's church, he taught us this song. It was anyway, they know it. I'm not going to sing it again. Fun fact, something I do on this podcast is I just sing songs a cappella. When I think about a song, I'll just sing it. So they just have to deal with me.
Hey, and don't think I'm a bad best friend because I have not listened to any of the episodes. But
he really just exposed himself to y'all.
I did.
Vulnerability, true friend.
Humble, open, and honest, right?
That's right. Hot.
Transparent, sorry. But
honest, open, and transparent.
Honest, open, and transparent. But I was on the other side of the world, and I had no access to do so.
It's okay. It's okay. I also, dude, I'm a glutton for pain because I do this every day. It's tough.
I don't know how you do it.
So you remember Timmy? Timmy was the one who talked me to doing this, and I remember when we started doing Life InBetween, like Teve tried to talk me into it, and I was not feeling it. And then Timmy got me excited about it, and then I was like, "All right, let's strike while the ground is hot. Let's do like I don't even remember what type of like frequency we're
you
trying
were like,
to do."
You're like, "Hey, let's do like 3 episodes a week." And I was like, "Bro." We compromised that too.
Rough. We compromised that too. We got 28 episodes out, and then we took a hiatus and finished the season at 30. But like
our next season, we're not gonna go as fast. There's no way.
It's not. We'll probably still do like. Nah, we're just gonna release them as we release them.
Yeah, we're not gonna.
No pressure.
We're not gonna do that.
But the thing was, I was like monetize, because like the hardest part, like. Part of it, you're great at marketing, and bro, like, the worst thing is not having you to make posts on Instagram, bro. I'm like, dude, how does he do this? It sucks. I'm like, man, I forget my Instagram page. I'm just gonna post it on my personal because it's too much work to be doing. You're posting it, then you repost it on your personal, and then you're like, bro, it's too much. You're trying to get people to follow you, and like
at one time I was at some point I was managing like
was it 5 accounts?
5 different social media accounts over the summer, and that almost like got me like what's the word, burnout from social media.
Bro, self-promotion is not easy.
It was not only self-promotion, but like, man, I'm doing other people's accounts as well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, like, I get tired even scrolling on my own Instagram sometimes because of that.
Dude, it's wild. But one of the things, anyway, back to what we were talking about. Uncle Paul taught us this song, and I got to lead it to the kids at my church. At a kids camp last week, and I got real sentimental because I was like, dang, like I got to take part in like the legacy that was established. You are such a troll. The legacy that was established.
Be polite. We're with others.
Before, like, he probably wrote those songs before I was born, and now I'm passing those on to kids that are 4 or 5 years old, you know? And so who knows the impact of that, but just to know, like, you don't always get to, like, he's teasing me right now. You don't always get to see the fruit of your labor, and it was really important for me to, like, do that. And show him my appreciation. And so you just got back from Zimbabwe. Legacy is important to you. Like who and I know obviously in the episode we talked about it was more like long not long-standing, but like you were talking about, like your ancestors and all that. Like, when you think about legacy, who is the first person that comes to your mind, and like, who has impacted you to say like, hey, this is the torch that I'm carrying on?
My dad, I think of him a lot. Because
this is tender.
In our culture, the oldest son picks up the mantle from the father, and my dad is the oldest one now. So he's taken that mantle and he's embraced it, and he's done probably more than my grandparents ever imagined us to do. And not only like did he do that himself, but he's brought people along to do the work with him together. So it's not just him carrying the mantle by himself. He's brought other people around. And now I look forward to like carrying that mantle with my brothers one day. In our family ministry that I talked about the other Life InBetween.
Shameless plug, go watch
shameless
it.
Plug.
MCDFT.
Yeah.
That's the acronym.
I don't feel like saying the whole thing.
You have to find out what that actually stands for on Life InBetween episode 29. That's right.
But yeah, I look forward to like continuing that legacy with my brothers and sister and also my cousins. And I wish I said this in the podcast, but when I went back to Zimbabwe, some of my family members had photo books from from early 2000s. For some of you young bloods, photo books back in the day actually had photos. And not a lot of people have photo books nowadays. They're kind of ancient. But we were seeing all these pictures. Some of these pictures I haven't seen in years of me when I was like a little toddler, or even when I was playing soccer when I first moved to the States, which, wow, was just kind of like crazy. And like, again, that also reminded me of just like, man, like these people have been keeping up with me my whole life and been cheering and praying for me my whole life. And like now, like that, I want to continue that with my kids. I want to keep the culture. I want them to be raised in the culture. And I want them to move it on too. And legacy, man, it's not about what you do for yourself, but how you sustain it the next generation.
And who you're doing it for.
Yeah, and who you're doing it for ultimately. And when I think of legacy, I think about, man, like, how am I setting my kids up to be better than me? Because my parents, they sacrificed so much for me. And again, going to Zimbabwe, I saw how much they sacrificed for me. So like, how can I put in the work right now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, so my kids can be better than me? Because that's what, like, man, like, talking to other people, and like they just talked about their appreciation they had for my parents, and they talked about how powerful our name is, and how you are very fortunate to be like their son or daughter. Gave me another sense of pride that like I want to give to my children. I want them to know that your name is going to mean something and will always mean something. And like, you got to represent it well. But you don't represent it well by just being a quote unquote good person or nice person. You represent it well by being a follower of Christ. That's the name you want to like amplify and glorify before you start thinking about your name. Because that's who your legacy is built off. Your relationship with Christ.
Preach.
But yeah, man, that's what I got for you.
Okay, last question, and then I'm just going to gas you up for a little bit. when you talked about those pictures, is it weird? Like, I think about the technological advancements of, WhatsApp and FaceTime, being able to communicate with somebody across the world just because of Wi-Fi, right? And so now I think about back then, growing up, like calling cards. Y'all kids don't know anything about that. But like, you had to buy like basically credits to be able to
The
talk to
international
people,
calls.
and it sucked sometimes. And so anyway, when I went back to Zimbabwe when I was 11, there was a huge jump, obviously, between 4 years old and 11 years old, and then 11 to 18. So I'm going back, and my grandmother sees me. I walk straight. I was the first person to walk in the room, and my grandmother sees me, and she it was almost like there was fear in her eyes because she didn't know who I was, but she knew who I was. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And she finally realizes, she starts screaming, "Oh my God, oh my God." And then now we're having the reunion, and she just keep looking at me and smiling and being like, "Oh my God, he's here." You're frozen in those pictures, unless they have Facebook or something
Right.
those scrapbooks, those photo books are those photo albums are literally their connection to you. And so anyway, I wondered if you had that experience of people seeing you and being like, "No way. Is that really you?" Did that happen?
That happened almost every time you met someone.
Yeah.
Or I met someone new, oh my gosh, Teve, he was like this.
Yeah.
He was like this small. And now look at you, you're all grown up. And I'm yeah,
it's you don't know what to say.
You don't know what to say. But it's a real cool realization that people cared about you back in the day, and they still do, and they're praying for you, and that's probably one of the biggest rewards a parent can have is when they see a kid, or they see their kid grow up, or they see, I'm nowhere near the finished product, but they see a new prototype of something that wasn't really formed yet. You know?
Yeah.
They see a different mold of that person.
Okay.
And a different version, honestly, because kid version of anyone is a lot different than adult version of you.
It's facts. Well, thank you for being on the episode. I want to ask you more questions, but you are exhausted. So now I'm just going to encourage you for a little bit. One, I just got, literally, I played at a wedding, I guess, yesterday. It's 2 a.m. now, so 2 days ago, kind of. But I said this to you, being at, Noah is one of my closest friends now, and being at his wedding, knowing his wife, and it made me super excited for your day. And one of my episodes, I think it's called Hopelessly Hopeful, of just, the struggle. And it can be really easy to, you wrestle with, am I idolizing something? Am I putting too much brain power in something that's not here yet? But I still want this. It's a God-given desire. You have always been somebody in my life that I can connect with because we have a lot of the same shared experiences. But being in that space, there are 2 things I noticed. Noah and Emily, their friend group was gigantic, and it was just this collision of worlds. Some Christian, some non-Christian, some ethnic, some white as rice, and others. It was just, there weren't a ton of black people. I think it was just me and JC, but not Jesus Christ, JC, my friend, Noah's friend. But anyway, point being, you do a great job. It reminded me of you and how you have so many different types of friends, and they all none of them are quite like you, but you love, the common denominator is how well you love them and how they appreciate that. And so Noah and Emily, it's similar. Shout out to you guys. Congrats on getting married. But that's one of my favorite things, to see how you do that. and one of the things I want to emulate. And the thing I appreciate about both of y'all is that, or all of y'all, is that y'all brought me into your worlds. And so now it feels like your friends are my friends. And so it's really cool, and I appreciate that a lot. And lastly, dude, I would not be doing this podcast if Life in Between never happened, if you didn't convince me to start putting out content with you. And so, dude, thank you for being the friend that sees potential in me and pushes me out of my comfort zone, because you do that often. And sometimes I respond well to that, and sometimes I respond like a little
push
brat.
back.
So I'm thankful for just how you you smooth out my rough edges and push me to pursue things that I don't always see myself as capable of doing. So
Hey, I'm not perfect though. I'm roughing my edges as well.
I try to smooth them out sometimes. I'm usually not very good at it. But you're my ace. You're my best friend, dude. And I literally, I mean, the few listeners I have, bro, it took me so long to get to 100 listens. I was like, bro, how did we do that? Like, we really were balling out. But anyway, we still are balling out because Life in Between continues. Thank you. It's about time to go to sleep. Listeners, this isn't my longest, but we've had some pretty long episodes lately. So I call my listeners the Knightly Musers, because I don't know what else to call them.
That's cool. Yes, but thank you so much for letting me be a part of your podcast and your kind words. I'm checking out because I'm really tired. Yes. And what time is it? 2:14.
So shout out Lowfly. Give this pod 5 stars if you're about it.
Just give us 5-star.
Facts. And share it with your friends.
No thoughts. Just do it.
Follow Life in Between. It's life space in between, one word. LIB is all capitalized.
Correct.
And follow Teve on his socials at Teve Mush. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And shout out Lowfly. All right, that's it.
That's a wrap.
Have a good night, folks.